until we feel so comfortable you don't have to think about it anymore.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Warm up in
Big idea.
we are not allowed to
Need to.
about 10. Thank you, 10.
I'm not that fast of a dresser, but
Yeah, okay. I just, sometimes it doesn't, it's only for one end, if that makes sense, like, it leans, so there's a lot of space on this side and not as much space on this side.
Well, use the tape to make the space you want. So if there's more space on this side, just put some tape in it out.
Yeah, okay.
If we had like a massive like huge like how we're gonna sit and just that work, but
Well, I don't think we're, honestly, want to be able to,
Well, thankfully it's in the corner, so you're not going to see it
yeah.
as much.
oh yeah, this was so.
Okay.
Okay, today's gonna be fun. Oh, I'm gonna go to my
Tanea
thing.
blows on
And there's a drill on that.
Yeah.
She's getting the quotes.
Yeah, I know.
And then she also posted to the Green Acres Farm pictures that look like she's getting ready for some, like reproductive science type kind of stuff going on.
Joe used to do ad at the farm all the time. Some of the goats she's getting are ones that I delivered.
So that's so cool. son, she posted this about her. She said, my son just finished reading The Wind in the Willows to Orrin, that's her grandson. I think Orrin is like 7 or 8. As they approached the novel's last page, the characters were having a party, and Orrin said, I don't know why I'm crying, it isn't sad. Paris told them, you are sad because your time's ending with Toad and Badger and Rat and Mole. Orrin said, that doesn't seem right. I don't think anybody else is laughing, but I think that's hilarious.
Humans are great.
5 and 2 warm up. Thank you, 5.
I'd rather a little loud, quiet, but what do you think about how loud that is for the rain effect?
I mean, it sounds good from the stage, but I'm right between speakers, so.
It does exactly encourage me.
Too loud.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Can I get you projecting for a moment? Because I'm trying to set the rain level right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Now then, Freddy, look where you're going, dear. Here's Manosphere, 2 bunches of hornets trotting to the mud. Here's Manosphere, 2 bunches of hornets trotting to the mud, and not a penny offered. I can give you change for a timber coin, lady. Not too coiny, lady. I called him Freddy Urch. I was trying to deceive you. Called him Freddy or Charlie, same as you might yourself if you was talking to a stranger and wished to be pleasant. Wished to be pleasant. It's worse since assignment's nearly over. So cheer up, kitten. Buy a flower off the poor girl. I can give you change, kitten.
What was that? I'm sorry. What?
Oh, someone at the door?
We're having closed rehearsals tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix that.
No, it's a rehearsal, it's not the show. Yeah, no, you're not doing dress rehearsals tonight. Sorry, it's closed because of COVID, we're just doing our own.
No. No, you have to call the box office. No. No.
Right, and normally it would be, but we can't do that right now because of COVID.
No, nobody.
Right, no, we can't, sorry. Yeah, thank you, have a good night.
The costumer's mask is going to have a little pin cushion attached to it.
Yeah.
Thanks, ladies, for dealing with that. Only took you like 6
No, I
minutes.
go to Wednesday night.
I was
Wednesday night
is Hamlet attending or not?
I know I saw.
Those are Amelia.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to make the calls.
Alas, poor Yorick.
I knew him. Where are your jives now?
Actually, I think they just need to move somewhere on the.
I hung upon these lips 1,000 times.
I mean, we could put both of those just in the bookcases.
Right? It wouldn't be too weird. Not right out the back in school.
Only moderately weird.
Well, he does mention Shakespeare twice.
Right? Like, any good shot.
And Milton. Of course, Shaw's ambivalence towards Shakespeare is notorious. I love him, I hate him, I love him, I hate him, I love him, I hate him. Poor Shaw. Such a tormented soul. The stream, by the way, where you're up here and you're like, you look like you're like directing a fire. She sells seashells by the seashore.
She sells seashells by the seashore.
Worried Willard wondered wistfully.
Worried Willard? Wondered wistfully.
Whether winsome Winifred would weep.
Whether winsome Winifred would weep.
Worried wistfully whether winsome Winifred would weep.
Worried Willard wondered wistfully whether winsome Winifred would weep.
Would weep.
Would weep. Worried Willard.
Worried Willard wondered wistfully
Whether winsome Winifred would weep.
Don't forget the.
Would weep.
Yes.
Too plosive.
That's right. You must have the plosive.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Peter Piper. Pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
How many peppers did
How many peppers did Peter
Peter Piper pick?
Piper pick? Peter Piper picked a peck.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
What time does the wristwatch strap shop shut? Want to know what time? The wristwatch strap shop shuts at 9. By 9. Say the word 9. Makes your face do. 9. Not 8. Because it's an exercise.
Alright, let's start with some lip buzzers. Make your face super, super, super big.
Makes me tight. I'm so stressed about things. I'm gonna have a massage this week. See if we can get Higgins rubbed out of it.
Hands on the lower belly when you breathe out when you do your hose, hose. Feel that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Backwards. 8, 8, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am the very model of a modern Major General. I'm information vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England and I quote the fights historical. From Marathon to Waterloo and not categorical. What to do to die today at a minute or two to two. What to do to die today at a minute or two to two. A thing distinctly hard to say, but harder still to do. A thing distinctly hard to say, but harder still to do. For there'll be at a two or a quarter to two with a rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat- 2. And the dragoon will come when it hears the drum. And a minute or two to two today, and a minute or two to two. And a minute or two to two today, a minute or two to two. What time does the wristwatch strap shop shut? What time does the wristwatch strap shop shut? I don't know. What time does the wristwatch strap shop shut? I don't know. The wristwatch strap shop shuts at 9. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, how many people pickled
How many pickled peppers
because Eliza needs one too. Yeah, I super appreciate that. I was gonna bring one from home. I mean, if it's too hard, then I have one.
get no cab, not until 11:30, missus, when they come back after dropping their theatre fares.
But we must have a cab. We can't stand here until 11:30. It's too bad.
Well, it ain't my fault, missus.
If Freddie had a bit of gumption, he would have got one at the theatre door.
What could he have done, poor boy?
Other people got cabs. Why couldn't he? Well, haven't you got a cab?
Oh, there's not one to be had for love or money.
Oh, Freddie, there must be one. You can't have tried.
I tried as far as Charing Cross Station. There's not a cab available. The rain was so sudden, no one was prepared. Everyone had to take a cab. I went from Charing Cross all the way to Ludgate Circus. They're all engaged.
Did you try Trafalgar Square?
There wasn't one at Trafalgar.
You tried.
I tried as far as Charing Cross Station. Did you expect me to walk to Hammersmith?
You haven't tried at all.
You really are very helpless, Freddie. Go again and don't come back until you have found a cab.
I shall simply get soaked for nothing.
And what about us? Are we to stand here all night next to nothing with this downpour going on? You selfish pig, why you ought to be...
Very well, I'll go. Oh.
Playing out. Two bunches of audience trying to the man.
How do you know that my son's name is Freddie, pray?
There's Manosphere. Two bunches of audience trying to the man and no a penny offered. Do nothing of the sort, Mother, the idea.
Please allow me, Clara. Have you any pennies?
No, I've nothing smaller than a sixpence. I can give you change for a tin of pie, lady.
Give it to me. Now, this is for your flowers.
Thanks, tiny lady.
Now, tell me how you know the young gentleman's name.
I didn't.
Oh, I heard you call him by it. Don't try to deceive me.
Who's trying to deceive you? Called him Freddie or Charlie, same as you might yourself if you mistook into a stranger and wished to be pleasant. Sixpence thrown away. Really, Mama, you might have spared Freddie that.
Oh, sir, is there any sign of it stopping?
I'm afraid not. It started worse than ever about 2 minutes ago.
Oh, dear.
If it's worse, it's a sign it's nearly over. So cheer up, Captain. Buy a flower off the poor game.
I'm sorry, I haven't any change.
I can give you change, Captain.
For a sovereign, I'm nothing less.
No, I do buy a flower off me, Captain. I can change her for proud. Here, take this for tuppence.
Now, don't be troublesome. There's a good girl. I really haven't any change. Stop. You 3 halfpence if that's any use to you.
Thank you, sir. You be careful. Give him a flower for it. There's a bloke here by. Take it down every blessed word you say. I ain't done nothing wrong with speaking to the gentleman. Oh, I have a right to sell flowers if they keep on can. I'm a respectable girl. It's not to make sense of my head before I know.
Silly girl, who's hurting you? What do you take me for?
It's all right. He's a gentleman. Look at his boots. She thought he was a carper's knob.
What's a copper's knob?
It's a... Well, it's a carper's knob, guys, you might say. What else do you call it? A sort of informal.
I never said a
Oh,
word.
shut up! Shut up! Do I look like a policeman?
Then what did you take down my words for? I don't want to know whether you took me down right. You just show me what you wrote about me. Well, what's that? That ain't proper writing. I can't read that.
I can.
Cheer up, Captain. Boy flower of a poor girl.
Oh, it's because I called him Captain. I meant no harm. I tried to get me for one.
George, really, sir, if you are a detective, you need not be against molestation by young women until I ask you. Anybody could see the girl meant no harm.
Nice thing a gal can't shelter from the rain without being insulted.
Gal never said a word to him. What harm if she did?
And how are all of your people down at Chelsea?
So told you my people come from Chelsea?
Never you mind, they did. Now how do you come to be so far east? You were born in Lisson Grove.
Oh, what on is there in my leaving Listen Grove? It wasn't fit for a pig.
Live where you like, only stop that noise.
Come, he can't touch you. You have a right to live where you please.
Walk away, for instance. Or I'd like to go on the house in question with you, I would.
I'm not going to get it all.
Hoxton.
Well, who said I didn't?
Right, no golden medal with me, Of course he ain't. Don't you stand in front of him. See here, Buck called you to know about people who never offered to meddle with you. Where's your warrant?
Yes, where is your warrant?
Oh, let him sign when he likes. Don't want to have no trouble with him.
Why take us for the honour you think, don't you? Can't you talk in liberties with the gentleman?
Yes, tell him where you come from if you want to go fortune telling.
Cheltenham, Harrow, Cambridge, and India.
Quite right. May I ask, sir, do you do this for a living at the music hall?
I thought of that, perhaps I shall someday.
He's no gentleman. He ain't to interfere with the poor gear. What on earth can Freddie be doing? I shall catch pneumonia if I stay in this draft any longer.
Earl's Court.
Will you please keep your impertinent remarks to yourself?
Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Your mother's Epsom, unmistakably.
How very curious. I was brought up in Lodge Lady Park near Epsom.
Oh, what a devil of a name. Here, excuse me, you want a cab, do you?
Don't dare speak to me.
Please, please, Clara. We should be so grateful to you, sir, if you found us a cab.
There! Oh, I knew he was a plainclothes cobber.
Hey, a police whistle, that's a sporting whistle. He's no right to take away my character. My character's assigned to me as any lady's.
Don't know whether you've noticed or not, but the rain stopped about 2 minutes ago.
Huh, well, so it has. Why? And us losing our time listening to your silliness.
I can tell where you come from. You come from Hanwell. Go back there.
Hanwell.
Oh, thank you, teacher. Ha ha! So long. Frightening people like that. How would he like it himself?
It's quite fine now, Clara. We can walk to a motor bus. Come.
But the cab. Oh, how tiresome. Poor. Not going to live without being worrited and chivvied.
How do you do it, if I may ask?
Simply phonetics, the science of speech. That is my profession, also my hobby. Happy is the man who can make a living out of his hobby. You can tell an Irishman or a Yorkshireman by his brogue. I can place a man within 6 miles. In London, within 2 miles, sometimes within 2 streets.
Ought to be ashamed of himself, unmanly coward.
But is there a living in that?
Oh yes, quite a fat one. We live in the age of upstarts. Men start in Kentish Town at £80 a year. They wind up in Park Lane at 100,000. They wish to drop the Kentish Town, but they give themselves away every time they open their mouths. Now I can
Let him
teach
mind
them
his own business and leave a poor gal alone.
Woman! Cease this detestable boo-hooing this instant, or go seek the worship.
I will right to be here if I like, same as you.
A woman who speaks such depressing and disgusting sounds has no right to be anywhere, no right to live. Try to remember that you are a human being with a soul and the divine gift of articulate speech, that your language is the language of Shakespeare and Milton and the Bible, and don't sit there crooning like a bilious pigeon.
Oh,
Heavens, what a sound.
gone.
You see this creature with her curbstone English? The English that she'll keep in the gutter to the end of her days? Why, in 3 months I could pass her off as a duchess at Ambassador's garden party. I could even get her a job as a lady's maid or assistant in a shop, which requires even better English. That's the sort of thing I do for commercial millionaires. On the profits of it, I do genuine scientific work in phonetics, as well as some poetry along Miltonic lines.
Oh, I am myself a student of Indian dialects, and I was...
Are you? Do you know Colonel Pickering, author of Spoken Sanskrit?
Pickering, who are you?
Henry Higgins, author of Higgins' Universal Alphabet.
India to meet you.
I was going in here to meet you. 27A Wimpole Street. Come see me tomorrow.
No, I'm at the Carlton. Come with me now and let's have a jaw over some supper.
Right you are.
Buy a flower coin, gentlemen. Shop for me lodging.
I really haven't any change. I'm sorry.
Liar. You said you could change half a crown.
You ought to be stuffed with nails, you are. Here, take the whole blooming basket for 6 pence.
reminder. I got one at last. Where were the two women that were just here?
They walked to the back of the rhinestone.
And left me with a cab on my hands, damnation.
Never you mind, young man. I'll go down with a taxi. I ain't fencing no object to me, Charlie. I'm to court jury line round the corner of Bicklejohn's Oil Shop. Let's see how fast you can make a hop it.
Well, I'm dashed. That's the whole show.
It's really amazing. I haven't taken half of it in, you know.
Would you care to go over any of it again?
No, thank you. Not now. I'm quite done up for this morning.
Tired of listening to sound.
Yes, it's a fearful strain. I rather fancied myself because I could pronounce 24 distinct vowel sounds. But your 130 beat me. I can't hear a bit of difference between most of them.
Oh, that comes with practice. You hear no difference at first, but you keep on listening, and presently they sound as different as A from B. What's the matter?
A young woman wants to see you, sir.
A young woman? What does she want?
Well, sir, she says you'll be glad to see her when you know what she's come about. She's quite a common girl, sir. Very common indeed. I should have sent her away, only I thought perhaps you wanted her to speak into your machines. I hope I've not done wrong, but really you see such queer people sometimes. You'll excuse me, I'm sure, sir.
Oh, that's okay. Mrs. Pierce, is she an interesting accent?
Oh, something dreadful, sir, really. I don't know how you could take an interest in
Well,
it.
let's have her up. Send her up, Mrs. Pierce.
Very well, it's for you to say.
This is rather a bit of luck. I'll show you how I make records. We'll set her talking, and I'll first take it down in Bell's visible speech, then in broad Romic. Then we'll get her on the recording, and then you can have her turn her on whatever you like with the transcript before you.
This is the young woman, sir?
Oh, no. This is the girl I jotted down last night. She's no use. I have all the records I wanted to listen groveling. I shan't waste another cylinder on it. I don't want you. Be off with you.
Don't you be so saucy. You ain't heard what I come for yet. Did you tell him I come in a taxi?
Nonsense, girl. What do you think a gentleman like Mr. Higgins cares what you came in?
Oh, we are proud. Well, he ain't about giving lessons, nor him. I heard him say so. But here I am, not asking him any compliment. But if my money's not good enough, I can go elsewhere.
Good enough for what?
Good enough for you. Now you know, don't you? I'm going to have lessons on you, and the pay
expect me to say to you?
Well, if you was a gentleman, you might ask me to sit down, Arthur. Don't I tell you I'm bringing you business?
Pickering, should we ask this baggage to sit down, or shall we throw her out of the window?
Pie like any lady.
To my girl.
I want to be a lady in a flower shop instead of selling at the corner of Tottenham Court Road. But they won't take me unless I can talk more genteel. He said he could teach me. Well, here I am, ready to pay him, not asking any favour, and he treats me as if I was dirt.
How can you be such a foolish, ignorant girl as to think you could afford to pay Mr. Higgins?
Why shouldn't I? I know my lessons cost as well as you do, and I'm ready to pay.
How much?
Now you're talking. Thought you'd come off it when you saw a chance of getting back a bit of what you chucked at me last night. You'd ain't a dropping.
Sit down.
Oh, if you're going to make a compliment of it.
Sit down.
Sit down, girl. Do as you're told.
You sit down.
Don't mind if I do.
What's your name?
Liza Doolittle.
Eliza. Elizabeth. Betsy and Bess went to the woods to fetch a bird's nest.
They found a nest with 4 eggs in it.
They took 1 apiece and left 3 in it.
Oh, don't be silly.
You mustn't talk to the gentleman like that.
Why don't they speak sensible to me?
Come back to business. How much do you propose to pay for the lesson?
Oh, I know it's right. A lady friend of mine gets French lessons for 18 pence an hour from a real French gentleman. Well, you wouldn't have the face to ask me the same for teaching me my own language as you would for French. So I won't give more than a shilling. Take it or...
Pickering, if you consider a shilling not as a simple shilling, but as a percentage of this girl's income, it works out fully equivalent to 60 or 70 guineas from a millionaire.
How so?
Well, figure it out. A millionaire has about £150 a day. She earns half a crown. Offers me 2/5 of a day's wages for a lesson. 2/5 of a day's wages for a millionaire is somewhere around £60. It's enormous. By George, it's handsome. It's the biggest offer I've ever had.
£60? What are you talking about? I know 60 pounds. 60 pounds!
Hold your tongue.
But I ain't
Right, silly girl. Sit down. Nobody is going to touch your money.
Somebody is going to touch you with a broomstick if you don't stop sniveling. Now sit down.
I wouldn't think it was my father.
If I decide to teach you, I'll be worse than 2. Here,
What's this for?
to wipe your eyes. Wipe any other part of your face that feels moist. Remember, that's your handkerchief. This is your sleeve. Try not to mistake the one with the other if you wish to become a lady in short.
It's no use talking to her like that, sir. She doesn't understand you. Besides, you got it all wrong. She doesn't do it that way at all.
Yeah, you give me that handkerchief. He gave it to me, not to you.
He did. He did. I think it must be regarded as a property, Mrs. Pierce.
Serve you right, Mr. Higgins.
Higgins, I'm interested. What about the ambassador's garden party? I'll say you're the greatest teacher alive if you make that good. I'll bet you all the expenses you can't do it, and I'll pay for the lesson.
Oh, you are real good. Thank you, Captain.
It's almost irresistible. She's so deliciously low. So horribly dirty.
Here, wash my face and hands before I come on, did.
You're certainly not going to turn her head with flattery, Higgins.
Oh, don't say that, sir. There's more ways than one of turning a girl's head. And nobody can do it better than Mr. Higgins, though he may not always mean it. I do hope, sir, that you won't encourage him to do anything foolish.
What is life but a series of inspired follies? The difficulty is finding them to do. Never miss a chance. They don't come every day. Yes, I shall shall make a duchess of this draggle-tailed gutter snot. In 6 months' time, in 3, if she has a good ear and a quick tongue, I'll take her anywhere and pass her off as anything. Yes, we'll start today, right now, this moment. Take her downstairs and clean her up, Mrs. Pierce. Must be grand if it won't come off any other way. Is there a good hot fire in the kitchen?
Yes, but...
Then take off all of her clothes and burn them. Ring up Whiteley or someone for some new ones. Wrap her up in brown paper till they come.
You're no gentleman, you're not to talk of such things. I'm a good girl, I am, and I know what the like of you are.
We'll have another girl listen, girl prudery here, young woman. You've got to learn to behave like a duchess. Take her downstairs, Mrs. Pierce. If she gives you any trouble, wallop her.
No! But I've no place to put her.
Put her in the dustbin.
Higgins, be reasonable.
You must be reasonable, Mr. Higgins. Really, you must. You can't walk over everybody like this.
Hi. Walk over everybody. My dear Mrs. Pierce, my dear Pickering, I assure you I had no intention of walking over anybody. I merely propose that we should be kind to this poor girl, to help her and fit her to her new station in life. If I did not make myself clear, it was merely because I did not wish to offend her delicacy or yours.
Well, did you ever hear anything like that, sir?
Never, Mrs. Pierce, never.
Well, what's the matter?
The matter is, sir, that you can't take a girl up like that as if you were picking up a pebble on the beach.
Why not?
Why not? But you don't know anything about her. What about her parents? She may be married.
Gone! There. As you see, the girl so perfectly says, gone. Married indeed. Don't you know a woman of that class looks a worn-out drudge at 50 a year after she's married?
Oh, marry me.
By George, Eliza, the streets will be strewn with the bodies of men shooting themselves for your sake by the time I'm done with you.
Oh, nonsense, sir! You can't talk like that to her.
Oh, I'm going to shop he is. Don't want no bummies teaching me.
No, mad am I? Very well then, Mrs. Pierce, you needn't order the new clothes for her. Throw her out.
Oh, no, I won't let you touch me.
You see what comes of being saucy. Come with me, please.
I didn't want no clothes. When the time I can run you out of those.
You are an ungrateful, wicked girl. This is my return for offering to take you out of the gutter and dress you beautifully and teach you how to speak like a lady.
Stop it, Mr. Higgins. I won't allow it. You are the one that is wicked. Go home to your parents, girl, and tell them to take better care of you.
I ain't got no parents. They told me I was big enough to earn me own living and turn me out.
Where's your mother?
I ain't got no mother. The other that turned me out was my sick stepmother. But I done without him, and I'm a good girl, I am.
There. You see? What on earth is all this fuss about? The girl doesn't belong to anybody. She's no use to anybody but me. You can adopt her, Mrs. Pierce. I'm sure a daughter will be a great amusement to you. Now, take her down to the
But
bathroom.
what's to become of her? Is she to be paid anything? Do be sensible, sir.
Pay her whatever's necessary. Put it down in the housekeeping book. What will she want with money? She'll have her food. She'll have her clothes. She'll only drink if you give her money.
Oh, you are a brute. It's a lie. Nobody ever saw the sign of liquor on me.
Does it occur to you, Higgins, that the girl has some feelings?
No. At least don't any feelings we need worry about.
Feeling same as anyone else.
You see the difficulty?
Difficulty?
Get her to talk grammar. The mere pronunciation is easy enough.
I don't want to talk grammar. I want to talk like a lady.
Please keep to the point, sir. I want to know on what terms the girl is to be here. Is she to receive any wages? What is to become of her when you've finished your teaching? You must look ahead a little.
What is to become of her if we leave her in the gutter, Mrs. Pierce? Answer me that.
That is her own business, not yours, Mr. Higgins.
Very well, then. When I'm done with her, we shall place her back in the gutter and it will be her own business again. That shall be all right.
Oh, you've got no feeling, aren't you? You don't care for nothing but yourself. Yeah, I've had enough of this. I'm going. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, you ought.
Have some chocolates, Eliza.
I don't want might be in 'em. I've heard of girls being drugged by the like of you.
Pledge of good faith. I'll eat one. You eat one. You shall have boxes of them. Barrels of them. Every day you shall live on them, eh?
I'm gonna hide it. Not until ladylike to spit it out.
Listen, Eliza, I believe you said you came in a taxi.
Suppose if I did, I was gonna right to take a taxi as anyone else.
And you have. Now on, you should have as many taxis as you like. To go up and down around the town in a taxi every day. Think of that, Eliza.
Mr. Higgins, you're tempting the girl. It's not right. She should think of the future.
Nonsense. Time enough to think of the future when you haven't any future left. No, Eliza, do as this lady does. Think of other people's futures, never your own. Think of chocolates, taxis, gold, diamonds.
Oh, I don't want no gold and no diamonds. I'm a good girl, I am.
And you shall under the care of Mrs. Pierce. And you shall marry an officer in the guard. A son of a marquis with a beautiful mustache, who will disinherit him for marrying you, but will relent when he sees your goodness and beauty.
Excuse me, Higgins, but I really must interfere. Mrs. Pierce is quite right. If this girl is to put herself in your hands for 6 months for an experiment in teaching, she must understand thoroughly what she's doing.
How can she? She's incapable of understanding anything. Besides, how many of us understand what we are doing? If we did, would we ever really do it?
Very clever, Higgins, but not sound sense. Miss Tudor.
Oh.
There. You see? That's all you'll get out of Eliza. Oh. No sense in explaining. This military man, you ought to know that. Give her her orders. That's what she wants. Eliza, you want to spend the next 6 months here learning how to speak beautifully like a lady in a florist shop. If you're good and do as you're told, you should sleep in a proper bedroom and have plenty of fine clothes, lots to eat, and money to buy taxis and take rides and taxis and buy chocolates and have all the things that you like. If you are naughty and idle, you shall sleep in the back kitchen among the black beetles and be walloped by Mrs. Pierce with a broomstick. At the end of 6 months, you shall go to Buckingham Palace in a carriage beautifully dressed. If the king finds out that you are not a lady, the police shall take you to the Tower of London and cut off your head as an example to other presumptuous flower girls. But if you are not found out, you shall have a present of 7 and 6 pence to make life with this lady in the shop. If you refuse this offer, you are a most ungrateful and wicked girl, and the angels shall weep for you. There. Are you satisfied, Pickering? Can I put it more plainly or clearly, Mrs. Pierce?
I think I had better talk to the girl properly in private. I don't know that I can take charge of her or consent to this arrangement at all. I know, of course, that you don't mean her any harm, but when you become what you call interested in people's accents, you never think or care what may happen to them or you. Come with me, Eliza.
Very well, Mrs. Pierce, thank you. Bundle her off to the bathroom.
You're right, bully, you are. No, I'll stay here if I don't like. Oh, I know nobody will let me. I never asked to go to Buckingham Palace, I didn't. I was never in trouble with the police, not me. I'm a good girl, I am.
Don't answer that, girl. You don't understand the gentleman. Come with me.
Well, what I say is right. I'm not going to the king. That was not going to have me head cut off. If I know what I was letting myself in for, I'm never going to come here. If I know what I was, if I never said a word to him, and I don't owe him nothing, and I don't care, and I will feel inside as anyone else.
Great question, Higgins. Are you a man of good character where women are concerned?
Have you ever met a man of good character where women are concerned?
Yes, very frequently.
I haven't. I find the moment I allow a woman to become friends with me, she becomes jealous, suspicious, exacting, and a damn nuisance. I find the moment I allow myself to become friends with a woman, I become selfish and tyrannical. No, women upset everything. The moment you let them into your life, you find that they're driving at one thing, you're driving at another.
What for?
Oh, Lord knows. I suppose a woman wants to live her own life, a man wants to live his. So she wants to go north, he wants to go south. They're both pulling each other on the wrong track. They both end up going east, though they both despise the east wind. So here I am, a confirmed old bachelor, and likely to remain so.
No, come, Higgins, you know what I mean. If I'm to be in this business, I shall feel responsible for that girl. I hope it's understood that no advantage is to be taken of her position.
What? That thing! Sacred, I assure you. Well, she should be a pupil. And teaching should be impossible unless pupils were sacred. I've taught American millionairesses by the scores to speak English. The most beautiful women in the world. I'm seasoned. They might as well have been blocks of wood. I might as well be a block of wood. You see that... Well, Mrs. Pierce, is it all right?
I just wish to trouble you with a word, if I may, sir.
Certainly, Mrs. Pierce, come in. Oh, don't burn that, Mrs. Pierce. I shall keep that as a curiosity.
Handle it with care, sir, please. I had to promise her not to burn it, but I had better put it in the oven for a while.
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Pierce. Now, what is it you wish to say to me?
Am I in the way?
Not at all, sir. Mr. Higgins, will you please be very particular what you say before the girl?
Of course. I'm always particular about what Why do you say this to me?
No, sir. You're not at all particular when you've mislaid anything or when you get a bit impatient. Now, it doesn't matter before me. I'm used to it. But you really must not swear before the girl.
I swear, I detest the habit. The devil do you mean?
That is what I mean, sir. You swear a good deal too much. Now, I don't mind your damning and blasting and what the devil and where the devil and who the devil.
Such language from your lips!
But there is a certain word, sir, that you must not use before the girl. She has just used it herself because the bath was too hot. It begins with the same letter as bath. She knows no better. She learned it at her mother's knee. But she must not hear it from your lips.
I cannot charge myself with ever having uttered it, Mrs. Pierce. Except in a moment of extreme and justifiable excitement.
Only this morning, sir, you applied it to your boots, to the butter, and to the brown bread.
Oh, that mere alliteration, Mrs. Pierce, natural to a poet.
Well, whatever you choose to call it, sir, I beg you not to let the girl hear you repeat it.
Oh, very well, very well. Is that all?
No, sir. We shall have to be very particular with this girl as to personal cleanliness.
Yes, quite right, most important.
I mean to not be slovenly about her dress or untidy in leaving things about.
Yes, just so. I meant to draw your attention to that very thing. You see, Pickering, it's the little things that are important. Take care of the pence, and the pounds shall take care of themselves. It's as true personal habits as it is of money.
Yes, sir. Then might I ask you not to come down to breakfast in your dressing gown? Or at any rate, not to use it as a napkin to the extent you do. And if you would be so good as to not eat everything off the same plate, and to not put the porridge saucepan out of your hand on the clean tablecloth, it would be a better example to the girl. You know you nearly choked yourself on a fishbone in the jam only last week.
I may do these things on occasion out of absence of mind, but surely I do not do them habitually. And by the way, my dressing gown smells most terribly of benzine.
No doubt it does, sir. But if you would wipe your fingers on...
Oh, very well, very well. I shall wipe them in my hair in the future.
I hope you're not offended, Mr. Higgins.
Not at all. Not at all. I shall be very particular before the girl. Is that all?
No, sir. Might she use some of those
Japanese dresses you brought from abroad. I really can't put her back into her old things.
Yes, whatever you like. Is that all?
Thank you, sir. That's all.
I tell you, Pickering, that woman has the most extraordinary ideas about me. Here I am, a shy, diffident sort of fellow. I've never been able to feel really grown up and tremendous like other chaps. But she's thoroughly convinced that I'm some overbearing, arbitrary, bossy sort of person. Can't account for it.
If you please, the trouble is beginning already. There's a dustman downstairs. Alfred Doolittle wants to see you. He says you have his daughter here.
I say! Send the blacklead up.
Very well, sir.
He may not be a blackguard, Higgins.
Nonsense, of course he's a blackguard.
Whether he is or not, I'm afraid we shall have some trouble with him.
No, I think not. If there's any trouble to be had, it shall be him who has it with me rather than I have it with him. Besides, we're likely to get something interesting out of him.
About the girl?
No, I mean his accent.
Oh.
Doolittle, sir.
Professor Higgins.
Here. Good morning. Sit down.
Morning, Governor. Thank you. I come about a very serious matter, Governor.
Brought up in Hounslow. Mother Welsh, I should think. What do you want, Doolittle?
I want my daughter. That's what I want to see.
Of course you do. She's your daughter, isn't she? You don't suppose anybody else wants her, do you? I'm glad to see you still have a spark of family feeling left in you. She's upstairs. Take her away at once.
What?
Take her away. You don't suppose I'm going to keep your daughter for you, do you?
Look here, Governor, is this reasonable? Is it fair to take advantage of a man like this? A girl belongs to me, you got her. Where do I come in?
Your daughter had the audacity to come to my home and ask me to help her speak beautifully like a lady in a florist shop. This gentleman, my housekeeper, been here the entire time. This, how dare you? How dare you try to come here and blackmail me? You sent her here on purpose.
No, Governor.
You must have. How else do you know that she was here?
I don't take a man up like this.
If you up, this is a plant, a ploy, a plot to extract money. I shall telephone the police.
I asked for a brass farthing. I asked the gentleman here if I said a word about money.
Then what else did you come for?
What would a man come for? The human, Governor.
Alfred. Did you put her up to it?
Certainly I never did. I take me Bible oath. Ain't seen a girl in 2 months past.
Then how did you know she was here?
I'll tell you, if you'll only let me get a word in. I'm willing to tell you. I'm wanting to tell you. I'm waiting to tell you.
Pickering, this chap has a natural gift for rhetoric. Observe the rhythm of his native wood notes wild. I'm willing to tell you, I'm wanting to tell you, I'm waiting to tell you. Sentimental rhetoric. That's the Welsh strain in him. It also accounts for his dishonesty and mendacity.
Oh, please, Higgins, I'm West Country myself. How did you know the girl was here if you didn't send her?
It's not his, Governor. Girl took a boy in a taxi. Give him a job. Son of a landlady he is. Well, he hung about on the chance he might get another ride home. She sent in for the luggage when she found out you was willing for her to stop here. I met a boy at the corner of Longacre and Endell Street.
Public house, yes?
The Poor Man's Club, Governor. Why shouldn't I?
Do let him tell his story, Higgins.
Well, the boy told me what was up, and I asked you what was my feelings and my duty as a father. I says to the boy, you bring luggage, I says.
Why didn't you go for it yourself?
Landlady wouldn't have trusted me with it, Governor. She's that kind of woman, you know. I had to give a boy a penny before he trusted me with it, a little swine. Now, I brought it to her just to oblige you, like, and make myself agreeable, that's all.
How much luggage?
musical instrument, Governor, a few pictures, a trifle of jewellery, and a bird cage. Said she didn't want no clothes. What was I to think from that? I ask you as a parent, what was I to think?
So you came to rescue her from worse than death, eh?
Just so, Governor, that's right.
But why did you bring her luggage if you intended to take her away?
Have I said a word about taking her away, have I now?
Where are you going to take her away? Double quick.
No, Governor, don't say that. I'm not one to stand in the girl's line. Here's a career opening for her, as you might
Mrs.
say.
Pierce, this is Eliza's father. He's come to take her away. Give her to him.
No, this is a misunderstanding.
But he can't take her away, Mr. Higgins. How can he? You told me to burn her clothes.
That's right. Can't carry the girl through the streets like a bloomin' monkey now, can I? I'll put it to you.
You have put it to me that you want your daughter. If she hasn't any clothes, go out and buy her some.
Where's the clothes she come in, huh? Did I burn them or did your missus here?
I am the housekeeper, if you please. I have sent for some clothes for your girl. When they come, you can take her away. You can wait in the kitchen. This way, please.
Look here, Governor. You and me is men of the world, ain't we?
Oh. Men of the world, are we? Well, you'd better go, Mrs. Pierce.
I think so indeed, sir.
The floor is yours, Mr. Doolittle.
Thank you kindly, Governor. Well, the truth is, I've taken a sort of fancy to you, Governor. You want a girl? Well, I'm not so set on having her back home again. What I might be up to is an arrangement. Now, regarded in a lot of a young woman, she's a fine, handsome girl, she is. As a daughter, not worth a keep, so I tell you straight. All I ask is me rights as a father. You're the last man alive to expect me to let her go for nothing. Oh, I can see you one of the straight sort, Governor. Well, what's a £5 note to you, huh? What's Eliza to me?
I think you ought to know, Doolittle, that Mr. Higgins' intentions are entirely honorable.
Of course they are, Governor. I thought they wouldn't. Oh, that's 50.
Do you mean to say, you callous rascal, you would sell your daughter for £50?
No, not in a general way I wouldn't. But to oblige a gentleman like you, I do a good deal, I do assure you.
Have you no morals, man?
Can't afford them, Governor. But neither could you if you was as poor as me. Not that I mean any harm, you know, but if Eliza's going to get a bit out of this, why not me too?
I don't know what to do, Pickering. It's a matter of morals. It'd be positive crime to give this chap a farthing. I do see a sort of rough justice in his claim.
That's right, that's all I say. A father's heart, as it were.
I know the feeling, but really, it seems hardly right.
No, don't say that, Governor. Don't look at it that way. What am I? Governors both. I ask you, what am I? I'm one of the undeserving poor. That's what I am. Think of what that means to a man. Means he's up against middle-class morality all the time. There's ever anything going and I put in for a bit of it, it's always the same story.
You're undeserving, so you can't have it.
Well, my need's as great as the most deserving widow what's ever got money from 6 different charities in 1 week for the death of the same husband. I don't need less in a deserving man. I need more. I don't eat less hardly then than I drink. I drink a lot more. Well, I want a bit of amusement because I'm a thinking man. I want cheerfulness and a song and a band when I feel low. Well, they charge me the same for everything as they charge a deserving. What is middle-class morality? Just an excuse for never giving me anything. Therefore, I ask you, as 2 gentlemen, not to play that game on me. I'm playing straight with you. I ain't pretending to be deserving. I'm undeserving. I plan to go on being undeserving. I like it. That's the truth. Will you take advantage of a man's nature? Do him at a price of his own daughter? Well, he's brought up and fed and clothed by the sweat of his brow, till she's grown big enough to be interesting to you two gentlemen. Is £5 unreasonable? Huh? I put it to you, and I leave it to you.
Pickering, if we were to take this man in hand for 3 months, he should choose between a seat in the cabinet or a popular pulpit in Wales.
What do you say to that, Doolittle?
Not me, thank you kindly, Governor. I heard all them preachers, all them prime ministers. I'm thinking, man, game for politics, religion, and social reform, same as all them other amusements. I tell you, it's a dog's life any way you look at it. Undeserving poverty is me line. Given one station in society with another, it's the only one that has any ginger in it to my taste.
Suppose we must give him a fiver.
He'll make a bad use of it, I'm afraid.
No, Governor, so help me I won't. Don't you be afraid that I'll save it, spare it, live idle on it. There won't be a penny of it left for Monday. I'll have to go to work, same as I never had it, huh? Won't pauperise me, you bet. Just a warm, good spree for myself and the missus, giving pleasure to ourselves, employment to others, satisfaction to you to know it's not been thrown away. You couldn't spend it better.
It's almost irresistible. Let's give him 10.
No, Governor. She wouldn't. I ought to spend 10. Perhaps I shouldn't either. Now, £10 is a lot of money, Governor. It makes a man feel prudent like, and a goodbye to happiness. Now, you give me what I ask for. Not a penny less, not a penny more.
Oh, why don't you marry that missus of yours? I rather draw the line at encouraging that sort of immorality.
Oh, tell her so, Governor, tell her so. I'm willing. It's me that suffers by it. You know, I've got to be agreeable to her. Got no hold on her. Got to give her presents. I got to buy her clothes, something sinful. I'm a slave to that woman, Governor, just because I'm not a lawful husband, and she knows it too. Catch her marrying me. You take my advice, Governor. Marry Eliza while she's young and don't know no better. If you don't, you'll be sorry for her after. If you do, she'll be sorry for it after. Better you know, right? Because you're a man. She's only a woman. Don't know how to be happy anyhow.
Pickering, if we listen to this chap any longer, we shan't have any convictions left. £5, I believe you said.
Thank you kindly, Governor.
You sure you won't take 10?
Not now. Another time, Governor. Thank you, Governor. Good morning. Oh, beg pardon, miss.
John, don't you know your own daughter?
Oh, Eliza.
Don't that look silly?
Silly?
Now, Mr. Higgins, don't say anything to make the girl conceited about herself.
No, quite right, Mrs. Pierce. Damned silly.
Please,
I
sir.
mean extremely silly.
I should look all right with me head on.
A new fashion, by George. It ought to look horrible.
I never thought she'd clean up as good looking as that. Credit to me, ain't she?
Tell you it's easy to clean up here. Hot and cold water on tap, just as much as you like there is. Woolly towels there is, and a towel or so, oh, it burns your fingers. Soft brushes to scrub yourself, and a woody bar of soap, smelling like primroses. Now I know our ladies is so clean. Washing's a treat for them. Wish they saw what it is for the like of me.
I'm glad the bathroom met with your approval.
It didn't, not all of it, and I don't care who hears me say it. Mrs. Pierce knows.
What's wrong, Mrs. Pierce?
It's nothing, sir. It doesn't matter.
I had a good mind to break it. Didn't know which way to look. But hung a towel over it.
Oh, what?
Over the looking glass, sir.
Too little. You've brought your daughter up too strictly.
Not me, Governor. Never brought her up at all, except to give her a lick of strap now and again. She ain't accustomed to it, that's all you see. She'll soon pick up on your free and easy ways.
I'm a good girl, I am, and I won't go picking up no free and easy way.
Eliza, if you say once more that you're a good girl, your father shall take you home.
Not him. You don't know my father. All he come here for was to touch you for some money to get drunk on.
What would I do with money? Put it in a plate, church, I suppose? Oh, give me none of your lip. Don't let me hear you giving this gentleman even neither. You heard about it from me, you see.
Have you any further advice to give her before you go, Doolittle? Your blessing, perhaps?
Not me, Governor. I'm not such a mug as to set up me children with all I know myself. Now, if you want Eliza's mind improved, you do it yourself with a strap. So long, gentlemen.
Stop! You will visit her regularly, won't you? It is your duty, you know. I have a brother who's a clergyman. He can help you with your talks with her.
Certainly I'll come, Governor, only not just this week, because I've got a job at a distance. Later on, you may depend on me. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Afternoon, Mum.
Don't you believe the old liar? He'd as soon as set a bulldog on him as a clergyman. You won't see him again in a hurry.
I don't want to, Eliza, do you?
Not me. I don't want never to see him again. He's a disgrace to me, he is, collecting dust when he should be working out his tribe.
What is his trade, Eliza?
Talking money out of other people's pockets into his own. His proper trade's a navy, and he works at it sometimes too, for exercise. Earns good money at it. Aren't you going to call me Miss Doolittle anymore?
I beg your pardon, Miss Doolittle. It was a slip of the tongue.
Oh, I don't mind. Only it sounded so genteel. I should just like to take a taxi to the corner of Tottenham Court Road and get out and tell it to wait for me just to put the girls in their place a bit. I wouldn't speak to them, you know.
Better wait till we get you something really fashionable.
Besides, Eliza, you don't want to go cutting out all of your old friends now that you've risen up the world. That's what we call snobbery.
Oh, you don't call the like of them me friends now, I should hope. They've taken that out of me often enough with their ridicule, and now I mean to get a bit of me own back. But if I'm to have some fashionable clothes, oh wait, I should like to have some. Mrs. Pierce says you're going to get me something to wear in bed at night different to what I wear in the daytime. Oh, it didn't seem like a waste of money when you could get something to show. Besides, never could fancy changing into cold things on a winter night.
Now, Eliza, the new things have come for you to try on. Oh, don't rush about like that, girl.
Pickering, we have taken on a stiff job.
Higgins, we have.
Take 10.
Thank you, Jen.
Yes, there is a thermostat. I don't know how it's here, and I don't know how I know what it is.
Then Amelia was thinking, no, you're just doing that.
And also there's a number for taking stuff off. Plug in here, take it off.
That what that? You see it?
Yeah. So that way it's
Okay, cool.
easier and you don't get in the way of the couch and all that. There are some circumstances like so if I take this off and they're already off so they can walk this way. Yeah. That makes sense. But while they're moving, they can plan on for sure. Thank you so much. And then it's the other way around. Thank you so much for doing that. Oh, it's okay. Thank you so much.
Henry, what are you doing here today? It's my at-home day. You promised not to come. Go home at once.
Father, I know, Mother. I came on purpose.
You mustn't. I'm serious, Henry. You offend all my friends. They stop coming whenever they meet you.
Oh, nonsense. I know I have no small talk, but people don't mind.
Small talk indeed. What about your large talk? Really, dear, you mustn't stay.
Oh, I must. I've got a job for you, a phonetic job.
Oh, no use, dear. I can't get around your vowels. And though I like getting pretty postcards in your patent shorthand, I always have to read the copies in ordinary writing you so thoughtfully send me.
I don't mean a phonetic job.
You just said it once.
Well, not your part of it. I've picked up a girl.
Does that mean some girl has picked you up?
No, I don't mean a love affair.
What a pity.
Why?
Well, you never fall in love with anyone under 45. When will you discover that there are some rather nice-looking young women about?
No, I can't be bothered with young women. Besides, my idea of a perfectly lovable woman is as much like you as possible. I shall never find myself in the way of liking young women. Some habits lie too deep to be changed. Besides, they're all idiots.
Do you know what you would do if you really loved me, Henry?
No, bother, what? Marry, I suppose.
No. Stop fidgeting and take your hands out of your pockets. That's a good boy. Now tell me about the girl.
Well, she's coming to see you.
I don't remember asking her.
You didn't ask her, I asked her. If you'd have known her, you wouldn't have asked her.
Indeed, why?
Well, you see, it's like this. She's an ordinary flower girl. I picked her up off the curbstone.
And invited her to my at-home.
No, it'll be all right. I've taught her how to speak, and she's under strict rules not to talk about anything but the weather and everybody's health. You know, how do you do? Nice day.
Safe. To talk about our health. Perhaps about our outsides. How could you be so silly, Henry?
Oh, don't you fuss. Everything will be all right. Pickering's in on it with me. I have sort of a bet going that I'll pass her off as a duchess in 6 months. I've been working on her for some months now, and she's catching on like a house on fire. You know, she's easier to teach than my middle-class pupil. She's got an extraordinary quickness of ear. And it's like teaching her a brand new language. She talks English much like you taught French.
Oh, that's satisfactory at all events.
Well, it is and it isn't.
What does that mean?
Well, you see, you have to consider not just how a girl pronounces, but what she pronounces. And that's where you come in. You see, what I'd like you to...
Mrs. and Miss Ainsford Hill.
How do you do?
How do you do?
My son, Henry.
Your celebrated son. I have so longed to meet you, Professor Higgins.
Delight.
How do you do?
I've seen you somewhere before. I haven't a ghost of a notion where, but I've heard your voice. Where was it? No, it doesn't matter. You better sit down.
I'm sorry to say that my celebrated son has no manners. You mustn't mind him.
I don't.
No.
Not at all.
Have I been rude? I didn't mean to be.
Colonel Pickering.
How do you do, Mrs. Higgins?
So glad for you to come. Do you know Mrs. Ainsford Hill? Miss Ainsford Hill?
Has Henry told you what we've come for?
No, we were interrupted, damn it.
Henry, really?
Are we in the way?
No, not at all. You couldn't come more fortunately. We want you to meet a friend of ours.
Yes, by George. We want 2 or 3 people. Well, you'll do as well as anybody else.
Mr. Ainsford Hill.
Lord in heaven, another of them.
How to do?
So good of you to come. Colonel Pickering.
How to do?
And I don't think you know my son, Professor Higgins.
How to do?
I'll take my oath I've met you somewhere before.
I don't think so.
No, it doesn't matter. Sit down. Well, here we all are anyhow. What the devil should we talk about until Eliza comes?
Henry, you are the life and soul of the Royal Society soirees. But really, you're rather trying on more commonplace occasions.
Am I? I suppose I am, you know.
I sympathize. I haven't any small talk if people would only be frank and say what they really think.
Heaven forbid.
Why?
What they think they ought to think is bad enough, Lord knows, but what they really think would break up the whole show. Do you think it would be agreeable for me to come out right now with what I really think?
Is it so very cynical?
Cynical? Who the devil said it was cynical? I mean, it wouldn't be decent.
Oh, I'm sure you don't mean that, Mr. Higgins.
Oh, we're all savages, more or less. I mean, we're supposed to be civilized and cultured and to know things about poetry and philosophy and art and science, but how many of us even really know the meanings of those names? What do you know about poetry? And what do you know about science? What does he know about art or science or anything else? What the devil do you imagine I know about philosophy?
Or of manners, Henry.
Miss Doolittle.
Oh, here she is, Mother.
How do you do, Mrs. Higgins? Mr. Higgins told me I might come.
Quite right. I'm very glad indeed to see you.
How do you do, Miss Doolittle?
Colonel Pickering, is it not?
I feel sure we have met before, Miss Doolittle. I remember your eyes.
How do you do?
My daughter, Clara.
How do you do?
How do you do?
I've certainly had the pleasure.
My son, Freddie.
How do you do?
Yes, of course, by George. It all comes back to me. Covent Garden. What a damned thing.
Henry, please. My writing table, you'll break it. Will it rain, do you think?
The shallow depression in the west of these islands is likely to move slowly in an easterly direction. There are no indications of any great change in the barometrical situation.
How awfully funny.
What is wrong with that, young man? I bet I got it right.
Killing.
I do hope it won't turn cold. There is so much influenza about, and it runs right through our whole family regularly every spring.
My aunt died of influenza, so they say.
Oh my.
But it's my belief they done the old woman in.
Done her in.
Yes, Lord Lavio. Why should she die of influenza? She come through diphtheria right enough the year before. I saw her with my own eyes. Fairly blue with it she was. They all thought she was dead. But my father, he kept ladling gin down her throat till she came to so sudden that she bit the bowl off the spoon.
Dear me.
What call would a woman of that strength and her have to die of influenza? What become of her new straw hat that should have come to me? Somebody pinched it, and what I say is, them as pinched it, done her in.
What does doing her in mean?
No, that's the new small talk. To do someone in means to kill them.
You surely don't believe that your aunt was killed.
Do I not? Them she lived with would have killed her for a hot pin, let alone a hat.
But it can't have been right for your father to pour spirits down her throat like that. It might have killed her.
Not her. Gin was mother's milk to her. Besides, he'd poured so much down his own throat that he knew the good of it.
Do you mean that he drank?
Drank, my word, something chronic.
How dreadful for you.
Not a bit. But then he did not keep it up regular. On the burst, as you might say, from
time to time, and always more agreeable when he'd had a drop in. When he was out of work, my mother used to give him 4 pence and tell him to go out and not to come back home until he'd drunk himself cheerful and loving-like. There's lots of women has to make their husbands drunk to make them fit to live with. You see, it's like this. If a man has a bit of a conscience, it always takes him when he's sober and makes him low-spirited. A drop of booze just takes that off and makes him happy. Yeah! What are you sniggering at?
Oh, it's the new small talk. You do it so awfully well.
If I was doing it proper, what was you laughing at? If I said anything I oughtn't? Not at all, Miss Doolittle.
Well, that's a mercy anyhow. What I always say is that... Well, I must be going. So pleased to have met you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Colonel Pickering.
Goodbye, Miss Doolittle.
Goodbye, all.
Miss Doolittle, if you were walking across the park, I was wondering if I might...
Walk? Not bloody likely. I am going in a taxi.
Well, I really can't get used to the new ways.
Oh, it's all right, Mama. Quite right. People will think we never go anywhere, see anybody if you're so old-fashioned.
I dare say I am very old-fashioned. But I do hope you won't begin using that word and that expression, Clara. I have got accustomed to you talking about men as rotters and calling everything filthy and beastly, although I find it horrible and quite unladylike. But this last is just really too much. Don't you think so, Colonel Pickering?
Don't ask me. I've been away in India for several years, and manners have changed so much I sometimes don't know whether I'm at a respectable dinner table or a ship's fork castle.
It's all a matter of habit. There's no right or wrong in it, and nobody means anything by it. And it gives such a smart emphasis to things that are not in themselves very witty. I find the new small talk delightful.
for before Eliza came, she had to find things and remember my appointment. Although she does have some silly bee in her bonnet when it comes to Eliza. She's always saying, "You don't think, sir," isn't she?
Yes, that's the formula. You don't think, sir. That's the end of every conversation about Eliza.
As if I ever stopped thinking about the girl and her blasted consonants and her vowels.
Or a pretty pair of babies playing with your live doll.
Hey! The hardest job I've ever tackled. Make no mistake about it, Mother. But you have no idea how frightfully interesting it is to take a human being and create an entire... It's...
Change. We keep records of every stage, dozens of gramophone discs and photographs.
It's the most difficult experiment we've ever tackled, Mother. And she regularly fills up our lives, doesn't she, Pig?
And we're always talking, Eliza.
Teaching Eliza.
Dressing Eliza.
What? Inventing new Elizas.
I assure you, my dear Mrs.
extraordinary
Henry, that girl is a
just
genius.
like a
She can play the piano
She
quite
picks up
beautifully.
things like that. I've tried her out with just about every
and
human
music
sound.
hall, and it's all the same there.
She
She plays everything she hears right off when she comes off.
Things
Whether
that
it's
took me
Beethoven or
months
Bach or
to learn,
Leon,
she picks them up like a shot. As if she
money
had them all her
she's
life.
never
You
as
have
much
no
as
idea how
touched
incredible
the
it was
piano.
to teach her how to say her H sounds,
Play
and then to say her R sounds. She has been...
I beg your pardon.
Sorry. Once Pickering starts shouting, it's hard to get a word in edgeways.
Be quiet, Henry! Colonel Pickering, don't you realize that when Eliza walked into Wimple Street, something walked in with her?
Her father did, but Henry soon got rid of him.
It would have been more to the point if her mother had. But as her mother didn't, something else did.
But what? Oh, I see the problem of how to pass her off as a lady.
Well, I've half solved that problem already.
No, stupid male creatures. The problem of what is to be done with her afterwards.
Oh, I shouldn't worry about that. She'll be able to go off into the world with all the advantages I've given her.
The advantages of that poor woman that was here just now. The manners and habits that disqualify a fine lady from living without giving her a fine lady's income. Is that what you mean?
Oh, that will be all right, Mrs. Higgins.
We'll find her some light employment.
She's happy enough. Don't you worry about her. Goodbye.
Besides, there's no use bothering about it now, Mother. The thing's done.
There are plenty of openings. We'll do what's right. Goodbye.
Let's take her to the Shakespeare exhibition at Earl's Court.
Yes, let's hurry more.
She'll mimic all the people for us when we get home.
Ripping.
Men! Men.
say, Pig, lock up, will you? I shall be going out again.
Right, can Mrs. Pierce go to bed? We don't want anything more, do we?
Lord, no.
I say, Mrs. Pierce will row if we leave these things lying about in the drawing room.
No, chuck them over the banisters into the hall. She'll find them in the morning and put them away right enough. She'll think we were drunk.
Oh, yeah, slightly. Are there any letters?
I did it, look. I wonder where my slippers are.
Only circulars and this coordinated billet do for you.
Moneylender. Oh, what a night. What a crew. What a silly tomfoolery. Oh, they're there, are they?
Well, I feel a bit tired. It's been a long day. The garden party, a dinner party, and the opera. Rather too much of a good thing. But you won your bet, Higgins. Eliza did the trick, and something to spare.
Oh, thank God it's over.
Were you nervous at the garden party? I was. Eliza didn't seem a bit nervous.
No, she wasn't nervous. I knew she'd be all right. No, it's the strain of seeing the whole thing through all these months that's taking its toll on me. It was interesting at first when we were working at the phonetics, but after a while, the whole thing became just sickening. If I hadn't backed myself to do it, I would have chucked the whole thing up months ago. No, the entire thing's been a dreadful bore.
Oh, God! The party was frightfully exciting. My heart began beating like anything.
Oh, yes, for the first 3 minutes. And then after that, I knew we were going to win hands down. I felt like a bear in a cage, sitting around doing nothing. The dinner was worse, sitting there gorging for more than an hour, nothing but a damn fashionable woman to talk to. No, I tell you, Pickering, that's it for me. No more artificial duchesses. The whole thing has been simple purgatory.
Oh, you've never been broken in properly to the social routine. I quite enjoy dipping into it occasionally myself. It makes me feel young again. Anyhow, it was a great success. An immense success. I was quite frightened once or twice because Eliza was doing it so well. You see, lots of the real people can't do it at all. They're such fools that they think style comes by nature to people of their positions, and so they never learn. There's always something professional about doing a thing superlatively well.
Yes, that's what makes me mad. The damn silly people don't know their own silly business. But it's over now. I shall be able to go to bed and wake up without dreading tomorrow.
I think I shall turn into... Still, it was a great occasion. A triumph for you. Good night.
Good night. Turn out the lights, Eliza. Tell Mrs. Pierce in the morning I'll take, not to make coffee for me, I'll take tea. slippers.
Take your slippers and may you never...
What on earth? What's the matter? Get up. Anything wrong?
Nothing wrong. You haven't I. That's enough for you. I don't matter, I suppose.
You? Presumptuous insect. I want it. What'd you throw those slippers at me for?
Because I want... I'm trying to kill you, you selfish brute. Why did you leave me where you picked me out of in the gutter? You thank God that you can throw me back there again, do you?
So, the creature is nervous after. Claws in, you cat! How dare you show your temper to me? You sit down there and be quiet.
What's to become of me? What's to become of me?
How the devil do I know what's to become of you? What does it matter what becomes of you?
You don't care. I know you don't care. You wouldn't care if I was dead. I'm nothing to you. Not so much as them slippers.
Us.
Those slippers. I didn't think it made any difference now.
Why are we going on like this? I ask you whether you complain about your treatment here?
No.
Has anyone behaved badly to you? Colonel Pickering, Mrs. Pierce, any of the servants?
No.
You don't presume to pretend that I have treated you badly?
No.
I'm glad to hear it. Well, perhaps you're tired from the strain of the day. Would you care for a glass of champagne?
No. Thank you.
This has been coming on you for some time. Well, only natural to be nervous about the garden party. But that's all over now. Nothing more to worry about.
Oh, God, I wish I was dead.
Why? In heaven's name, why? Well, listen, Eliza. All of this irritation is purely subjective.
I don't understand. I'm too ignorant.
It's only imagination. Low spirits, nothing more. There's nothing wrong. Nobody's hurting you. You go to bed and have a nice cry, say your prayers. That will make you feel more comfortable.
Thank God.
You go do whatever you like.
To become of me.
No. That's what's worrying you, is it? I shouldn't allow myself to be bothered with that. You should have no trouble selling yourself down somewhere or other. Although I hadn't realized you were going away. You might marry, you know. Not all chaps are confirmed old bachelors like me and the Colonel. Most chaps are the marrying kind, poor devils. And you're not bad looking. Well, I should say you're quite a pleasure to look at most of the time. Well, not now, you've been crying, you're looking at something very devil. But when you're all right and you're yourself, you're what I should call attractive. But to the marrying kind, of course, you understand. You go to bed, have a nice rest, get up in the morning, look yourself in the glass, you won't feel so cheap. I dare say my mother could find some chap or other.
You're above that at the corner of Tottenham Court Road.
What do you mean?
I sold flowers. I didn't sell myself. Now you've made a lady of me. I'm unfit to sell anything else.
Tosh, Eliza. Don't you go insulting human relations by dragging all this cant about buying and selling into it. You mustn't marry the fellow if you don't like.
What else am I to do?
I don't know. Lots of things. But what about your own idea of having a flower shop? I dare say Pickering will set you up with one. He's lots of money. Well, he'll have to pay for the togs you've been wearing all day, and that with the hire of the jewelry will put a good hole in £200. Well, 6 months ago, you thought of the millennium to have your own flower shop. Come. You'll be all right. Now, I'm devilish sleepy. I must to bed. By the way, I came down for something. What was it?
Your slippers.
Oh, yes, right. Yeah, you shied them at me.
Before you go, sir, do my clothes belong to me or to Colonel Pickering?
What the devil use would they be to Pickering?
He might want them for the next girl you decide to pick up to experiment on.
Is that how you feel towards us?
I don't want to hear anything more about that. All I want to know is whether anything belongs to me. My own clothes were burnt.
Why must you go on about that now in the middle of the night?
I want to know what I may take away with me. I don't want to be accused of stealing.
Stealing! You shouldn't have said that, Eliza. That shows a want of feeling.
I'm sorry. I'm only a common, ignorant girl, and at my station I have to be careful. There can't be any feelings between the like of you and the like of me. Please, will you tell me what belongs to me and what doesn't?
You may have the whole damn house, fool. Except for the jewelry that's hired. Will that satisfy you?
Stop, please. You take these upstairs and keep them safe. I don't want to run the risk of their being missing.
Hand them over. If these belong to me instead of to the jeweler, I shall ram them down your ungrateful throat.
This ring is at the jeweler's. It's the one you bought me in Brighton. Don't want it now.
You infamous creature! How dare you accuse me of such a thing as you has hit me, wounded me to the very heart!
I'm glad of my own.
You have caused me to lose my temper. A thing that very seldom happens to me before. I wish to say nothing more on the matter this evening. I'm going to bed.
You'd better leave a note for Mrs. Pierce about the coffee, for she won't be told by me.
Damn Mrs. Pierce. And damn the coffee. And damn you. And damn my own folly for having lavished my hard-earned knowledge and the treasure of my regard and intimacy on a heartless gutter snipe.
show them up.
They're using the telephone, ma'am. Telephoning the police, I think.
What?
Mr. Henry's in a state, ma'am. I thought I'd better tell you.
If you had told me that Mr. Henry was not in a state, that would be more surprising. Tell them to come up when they finish with the police. I suppose he's lost something.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, go upstairs and tell Miss Doolittle that Mr. Henry and the Colonel are here. I'll down until I send for her.
Yes, ma'am.
Look here, Mother, here's a confounded thing.
Yes, dear, good morning. What is it?
Eliza's bolted.
You must have frightened her.
Frightened her? No. She was left last night, put out the lights and all that, and she went off, changed her clothes, went right off. She never even slept in her bed. She sent a cab for her things before 7 this morning, and that fool, Mrs. Pierce, let her have them without telling me a word about it. Do.
Go do without, I suppose. I mean, the girl has a perfect right to leave if she chooses.
But I can't find anything. I don't remember what any of my appointments are. I met Higgins on his last to say, did you offer a reward?
You police after Eliza.
Of course. What else are the police for?
No, they made a lot. These are. They think he suspected us of some improper purpose.
Of course he did. What right have you to go to the police and give the girl's name as if she were a thief or a lost umbrella or something, really?
But we want to find her.
We can't let her go like this. You know, Mrs. Higgins, what were we to do?
You have no more sense, either of you, than 2 children. What?
Henry, sir. A gentleman wants to speak with you, very particular. He's been sent from Wimpole Street.
Oh, bother. I can't be bothered with anyone now. Who is it?
A Mr. Doolittle, sir.
Doolittle? Do you mean the dustman?
Dustman? Oh, no, sir. A gentleman.
By George, Pick. This must be some relatives of hers that we know nothing about. Someone she's gone to. Send him up, quick.
Yes, sir.
Genteel relatives. Now we shall learn something.
Do you know any of her people?
Only her father, the fellow we told you about.
Mr. Doolittle.
See you done this.
Done what, man?
Yes, look at it. Look at his hat. Look at his coat.
Has Eliza been buying you clothes?
Eliza? Not she, not F. Why would she buy me clothes?
Good morning, Mr. Doolittle. Won't you sit down?
Asking your pardon, Mum. I'm that full of what has happened to me, I can't think of anything else.
What has happened to you?
I shouldn't mind if it only happened to me. Anything might happen to anybody, and only Providence to blame, as you might say. But this is something you've done to me. Yeah, you, Henry Higgins.
Have you found Eliza? That's the point.
Have you lost her?
Yes.
You're all the luck you have. No, I ain't found her. She'll find me quick enough now after what you've done to me.
But what done, Doolittle?
Done to me? Ruined me? Destroyed me happiness? Tied me up and delivered me into the hands of middle-class morality?
You're raving. You're drunk. You're mad. I gave you £5. After that, I spoke £1 an hour. I haven't seen you since.
Drunk am I? Mad am I? Tell me this. Did you, or did you not write a letter to an old blighter in America what was given $5 million to found moral reform societies all over the world, and what are you doing? A universal language for him?
What? Ezra D. Wonderfella? Well, he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead and I'm done for. Now, did you, or did you not write a letter to him saying that the most original moralist in all of England at present time, to the best of your knowledge, was Alfred Doolittle, a common dustman?
Oh, after your last visit, I may remember making some silly joke of the kind.
Oh, you may well call it a joke. Put a lid on me right enough. Just give him a chance he wanted to say Americans is not like us. No, that they recognise and respect merit in every class of life, however humble. Them words is in his blooming will. Henry Higgins thinks you're silly joking. He leaves me a share in his predigested cheese trust worth $3,000 a year. On condition, I lecture for his Wonderfella Moral Reform World League as often as they ask me, up to 6 times a year.
The devil he does! What a lark!
A safe thing for you, Doolittle. They won't ask you twice.
Oh, ain't a lecturing on mine. I'll lecture blue in the face, I will, not turn a hair. No, he's making a gentleman of me, and I object to. Who asked him to make a gentleman out of me? I was happy. I was free. I touched pretty nigh everybody for money when I wanted it, same as I touched you, Henry Higgins. Now I'm worried, tied, neck and heels. Everybody touches me for money. Oh, it's a fine, says my solicitor. Oh, is it, says I. Mean it's a good thing for you, I says. Well, I was a poor man, I had a solicitor once. Found a pram in me dust cart. Well, he got me off, and he got shut of me, and got me shut of him as quick as he could. Same with the doctors. They used to shove me out of the hospital before I could hardly stand on my legs. Nothing to pay. Now they finds out I'm not a healthy man, can't live unless they looks after me twice a day. Oh. In the house, I'm not let to do a hand's turn for myself. Somebody else must do it and touch me for it. A year ago, I ain't a relative in the world except maybe 2 or 3 wouldn't speak to me. Now all 50. Not a decent week's wages among the lot of them. I got to live for others and not myself, and that's middle class morality. You talk of losing Eliza, you'll be anxious. I bet she's on me doorstep by this. She that could support herself easy by selling flowers if I wasn't respectable. And the next one to touch me will be you, Henry Higgins. I'll have to learn to speak middle class language from you. That's where you'll come in, and I dare say that's what you've done it for.
But my dear Mr. Doolittle, you need not suffer all this if you really are in earnest. No one can force you to accept this bequest. You can repudiate it. Isn't that so, Colonel Pickering?
I believe so.
That's a tragedy of it, Mum. It's easy enough to say, chuck it, but I haven't a nerve. Which one of us has? We're all intimidated. Intimidated, Mum. That's what we are. What is there for me if I chuck it but a workhouse in my old age? I have to dye my hair already to keep my job as a dustman. If I was one of the deserving poor to put by a bill, I suppose I could chuck it. But then why should I? Because the deserving poor might as well be millionaires for all the happiness they ever has. They don't know what happiness is. But I, as one of the undeserving poor, have nothing between me and the pauper's uniform. This here blasted 3,000 a year to show middle class. Excuse the expression, Mum. You'd use it yourself if you had my provocation. They got you everywhere you turn. There's a choice between a skilly at a workhouse and the charbidus of a middle class. I haven't a nerve for the workhouse. Intimidated, that's what I am. Broke, bought up. And that's what your son has done to me.
Well, I am very glad to hear that you are not going to do anything foolish, Mr. Doolittle, for this solves the problem of Eliza's future. You provide for her.
Oh, yes, I'm expected to provide for everybody now, 3,000 a year.
What? He can't provide for her, he shan't provide for her. She doesn't belong to him, I paid him £5 for her. Doolittle.
A little bit of both, Henry. A little bit of both, like the rest of us.
You accepted that money for the girl, and you have no right to take her as well.
Henry, I want to know where Eliza is. She's upstairs.
Upstairs? Well, I shall jolly soon fetch her downstairs.
Be quiet, Henry. Sit down.
But I want...
Dear, and listen to me.
Very well. Very well. I should think you could have told me this half an hour ago.
Eliza came to me this morning. She passed the night, out in a rage, partly trying to throw herself into the river and being afraid to, and partly in hotel. She told me of the brutal way you two treated her.
What? Oh, my dear Mrs. Higgins, she's been telling you stories. We didn't treat her brutally. We hardly said a word to her, and we parted on particularly good terms. Higgins, did you bully her after I went to bed?
No, the other way about. She behaved atrociously. She threw my slippers in my face without any provocation. I walked into the room before I'd said a word and used most awful language.
But why, and what did we do to her?
I have a pretty good idea what you did. She's rather naturally affectionate, I think. Isn't that so, Mr. Doolittle?
Very tender-hearted, Mum. Takes after me.
Just so. She had become to you. She worked very hard. I don't think you quite realize what anything in the nature of brain works means to a girl like that. Well, it seems that when the great day of trial came, and she did this wonderful thing for you without making a single mistake, you up there and but talked together about how glad you were it was all over and how you were born. And then you're surprised because she threw your slippers at you. I should have thrown the
We said nothing but that we were tired and we wanted to go to bed, did we, Pig?
That was all. Absolutely, really, that was all.
You didn't thank her, or pet her, or admire that she'd been.
Well, she knew all that. We didn't make any speeches to her, if that's what you mean.
Perhaps we were a little inconsiderate. Is she very angry?
Well, I'm afraid she was Temple Street, especially now that Mr. Doolittle can keep up the position you have thrust upon her. But she says she's willing to meet on friendly terms and let bygones.
Is she, by George?
If you behave yourself, Henry, I'll come down. If not, you have taken up quite enough of my time.
Very well. Very well. Pig, you behave yourself. Let us put on our best Sunday manners for this creature we dragged out of the mud.
Now, Henry Higgins, have some consideration for my feelings as a middle-class man.
Remember your promise. Mr. Doolittle, would you be so good as to step out onto the balcony for a moment? I don't want Eliza to have the shock of your news until she's made up with these two gentlemen. Would you mind?
As you wish, milady. If he'd help Henry keep her off of my hands.
Will you ask Miss Doolittle to come down, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Be good, Henry.
I am behaving myself perfectly, Mother.
He is doing his best, Mrs. Higgins.
Henry, dearest, you don't look at all nice in that attitude.
I'm not trying to look nice, Mother.
It doesn't matter, I only wanted you to speak.
Why?
Because you can't speak and whistle at the same time.
But where the devil is that girl? Eh?
How do you do, Professor Higgins? Are you quite well? But of course you are. You are never ill. So glad to see you again, Colonel Pickering. Quite chilly this morning, isn't it?
Don't you play that game with me. I taught it you. I won't be taken in by it. Now stop being a fool and come home.
Oh, so nicely put indeed, Henry. No woman could resist such an invitation.
You let her alone, Mother. Let her speak for herself. You should jolly soon see whether she has a thought that I didn't put into her head or a word in her mouth. I created out of the squash cabbage leaves of Covent Garden, and now she wants to sit there and play the fine lady with me.
Yes, the experiment is over, Colonel Pickering.
Oh, don't you mustn't think of it as an experiment. It shocks me somehow.
Oh, I'm only a squashed cabbage leaf.
No!
But I owe so much to you that I should be very unhappy if you forgot me.
Oh, it's very kind of you to say so, Miss Doolittle.
It's not because you paid for my dresses. I know you are generous to everybody with money. But you see, it was from you that I learned really nice manners. And that is what makes one a lady, isn't it? You see, it was so very difficult for me with the example of Professor Higgins always before me. I was brought up to be just like him, unable to control myself and using bad language of the slightest provocation. And I should never have known that ladies and gentlemen didn't behave like that if you hadn't been there.
Well, he always talks like that. It's just his way, you know.
Of course, I didn't. It was my way when I was a flower girl. But you see, I did it, and that's what makes the difference after all.
No doubt still. He taught you to speak, you know, and I couldn't have done that.
Of course, that is his profession.
Damnation.
But you see, it's just like learning to dance in the fashionable way. There's nothing more than that in it. But do you know what began my real education?
What?
Your calling me Miss Doolittle that day when I first came to Wimple Street. That was the beginning of self-respect for me. And there are 100 little things that you did that you never noticed because they came naturally to you. Things like standing up and opening doors and taking off your hat.
Oh, that was nothing.
I know. Things that showed you thought and felt about me as if I was something better than a scullery maid. Though, of course, I know you would have been just the same to a scullery maid if she had been let in the drawing room. Never took off your boots in the dining room when I was there.
Oh, you mustn't mind that. Higgins takes off his boots all over the place.
Of course, I am not blaming him. It is his way, isn't it? But you see, it made such a difference to me that you didn't do it. You see, really and truly, apart from the things that anyone can pick up, the dressing and the proper way of speaking and so on, the difference between a lady and a flower girl is not how she behaves, but how she's treated. I shall always be a flower girl to Professor Higgins because he always treats me as a flower girl and always will. But I know I can be a lady to you because you always treat me as a lady and always will.
Please don't grind your
Why don't you slang back at him? No, stun. It would do him a lot of good.
I could have once, but now I can't go back to it. Last night, when I was wandering about, a girl spoke to me and I tried to get back into the old way with her, but it was no use. You told me, you know, that when a child is brought to a foreign country, it picks up the language in a few weeks and forgets its own. I am a child in your country. I have forgotten my own language and can speak nothing but yours. That's the real break-off from the corner of Tottenham Court Road. Leaving Wimple Street finishes it.
Oh, well, but you're coming back to Wimple Street, aren't you? You'll forgive Higgins?
Forgive? Will she, by George? Let her go. Let us see how she can get on without us. In 3 weeks' time, she'll be relapsed back into the gutter without me at her elbow.
Oh, he's incorrigible, Eliza. You won't relapse, will you?
Not now. Never again. I don't believe I could utter one of the old songs now if I tried.
Just say.
blame the girl? Don't look at me like that, Eliza. Ain't my fault. I've come into money.
You must have touched a millionaire this time, Dad.
Oh, I have. But I'm dressed something special today. Going to St. George's, Hanover Square. Your stepmother is going to marry me.
You're going to bring yourself down to marry that cruel, common woman?
He ought to, Eliza. Why has she changed her mind?
Intimidated. Intimidated, Governor. Middle-class morality claims its victims. Won't you put on your hat, Eliza, and come and see me turned off?
If the Colonel says I must, I'll demean myself and be insulted for my pains like enough.
Don't be afraid. She never comes to words with anyone now, poor woman. Respectability's broke all the spirit out of her.
Be kind to them, Eliza. Make the best of it.
Well, just to show there's no ill feeling, I'll be back in a moment.
I'm feeling uncommon anxious about this ceremony, Colonel. One of you to come to the church and see me through it.
Oh, but you've been through it before, Mom. You were married to Eliza's mother.
Who told you that, Colonel?
Well, nobody told me, but I concluded naturally.
Ain't a natural way, Colonel. That's only the middle-class way. My way was always the undeserving way. But don't say nothing to Eliza. Delicacy about telling her.
Quite. Leave it so, if you don't mind.
So you'll come to the church and see me through it?
With pleasure, as far as a bachelor can.
May I come, Mr. Doolittle? I would be very miss your wedding.
I should indeed be honoured by your condescension, Mum. Any poor old woman would take it as a tremendous compliment. She's very low, thinking of the happy days that all no more.
Well, I'll order a carriage and get ready. Shan't be more than 50 minutes. Eliza, I'm going to the church to see your father married. You should come in the brougham with me. Colonel Pickering can go with the bridegroom.
Bridegroom? What a word. Makes a man realise his position somehow.
Before I go, Eliza, do forgive him and come back to us.
I don't think Papa would allow me, would you, Dad?
Oh, they played you off very cunning, Elijah, them two sportsmen. If there'd been only one of them, you'd have nailed him. But there were two, you see, and one of them always chaperoned the other, as you might say. Very artful of you, Colonel. I bear no malice, should have done the same myself. I've been a victim of one woman after another all my life. I shan't interfere. Time for us to go, Colonel. So long, Henry. See you at the church, Eliza.
Do stay with us, Eliza.
Well, Eliza, you've got a little bit of your own back, as you call it. Have you had enough and you're willing to be reasonable? Would you care for some more?
You want me back so that I can pick up your slippers and put up with your tempers and fetch and carry for you.
I haven't said I wanted you back at all.
Oh, indeed. Then what are we talking about?
About you, not about me. If you come back, I shall treat you the way I have always treated you. I can't change my nature, and I don't intend to change my manners. My manners are quicker.
That's not true. He treats a flower girl as if she was a duchess.
And I treat a duchess as if she were a flower girl.
I see the same to everybody.
Just so.
Like father.
Without accepting the comparison on all points, Eliza, it is true that your father is not a snob, and that he shall be quite at home in any station of life to which his eccentric destiny may call him. The great secret, Eliza, is not having bad manners or good manners or any other particular sort of manners, but having the same manner for all human souls. In short, to behave as if you were in heaven, where there are no third-class carriages and every soul...
You are a born preacher.
The question isn't whether I treat you rudely, but whether or not you've ever heard me treat anyone else better.
I don't care how you treat me. I don't mind your swearing at me. I don't mind a black eye. I've had one before this. But I won't
talk about me as if I were a motor bus.
So you are a motor bus, all bounce and go, and no consideration for anyone, but I can do without you. Don't think I can't.
I know you can't. I told you you could.
I know you did, you brute. You wanted to get rid of me.
Liar.
Thank you.
You haven't asked yourself, I suppose, whether I could do without you.
Don't you try to get round me. You'll have to do without me.
I could do without anybody. My own soul, my own spark of divine fire. But I shall miss you, Eliza. Learn something from your idiotic notions. I confess that humbly and gratefully. I've grown accustomed to your voice and appearance. I like them, rather.
Well, you have both of them on your gramophone and in your book of photographs. When you feel lonely without me, you can turn the machine on. It's got no feelings.
I can't turn your soul on. Leave me those feelings and you can have the voice and the face. They are not you.
Oh, you are a devil. You can twist the heart of a girl as easily as some can twist her arms to hurt her. Mrs. Pierce warned me. Time and again she has wanted to leave you, but you always got round to her at the last minute, and you don't care a bit for her. And you don't care a bit for me.
I care about life, about humanity. And you are a part of that has come my way and been built into my house. What more can you or anyone ask?
I won't care for anybody that doesn't care for me.
Commercial principles, Eliza? Like selling violets.
It's mean to sneer at me.
I have never sneered in my life. Sneering doesn't become the human face or the human soul. I am expressing my righteous contempt for commercialism. I don't and won't trade in affection. You call me a brute because you couldn't buy a claim on me by fetching my slippers and finding my spectacles. You're a fool. I think a woman fetching a man's slippers is a disgusting sight. Did I ever fetch your slippers? I think a great deal more of you for having thrown them in my face. Are you slaving over me and then complaining that you're not cared for? Who cares for a slave? If you come back for the fellowship of it, for you'll get nothing else. You've had 1,000 times more out of me than I've had out of you. And if you dare set up your little dog's tricks of fetching slippers and finding spectacles against my creation of a Duchess Eliza, I shall slam the door in your silly face.
What did you do it for if you didn't care for me?
Why? Because it was my job.
You never thought of the trouble it would make for me.
Would the world have ever been created if its creator were afraid of making trouble? Making life means making trouble. The only way to avoid making trouble is killing things. Cowards, you see, are always running about shrieking to have troublesome people killed.
I am no preacher. I don't notice things like that. I notice that you don't notice me.
Eliza, you're a fool. I waste the treasures of my Miltonic mind by spreading them before you. Once for my way and do my work without caring twopence what happens to either of us. I'm not intimidated like your father and your stepmother, so you can come back, or...
What am I to come back for?
For the fun of it. That's why I took you on.
Oh, and you can throw me out tomorrow if I don't do everything you want me to.
Yes. And you can walk out tomorrow if I don't do everything that you want me to do.
Can live with my stepmother?
Yes, or sell flowers.
Oh, if only I could go back to my flower basket. Then I should be independent of both you and father and all. Oh, why did you take my independence from me? Why? I'm a slave. All my fine clothes.
Not a bit. I'll adopt you as my daughter and settle money on you if you like. Or would you rather marry Pickering?
I wouldn't marry you if you asked me, and you're nearer my age than what he is.
Than he is, not than what he
I'll talk as I like. You're not my teacher now.
I don't suppose Pickering would. He's as confirmed an old bachelor.
That's not what I wanted, don't you think it? I've always had chaps enough wanting me that way. Freddie Hill writes to me twice and 3 times a day, sheets and sheets.
Damn his impudence.
He has a right to if he likes, poor lad. And he does love me.
You have no right to encourage him.
Every girl has a right to be loved.
What, by fools like that?
Freddie's not a fool. And if he's weak and poor and wants me, maybe he'd make me happier than my betters that bully me and don't want me.
Can he make something of you? That's the point.
Perhaps I could make something of him. I never thought of us making anything of one another, and you never think of anything else. I only want to be natural.
You want me to be as infatuated about you as Freddie, is that it?
No, I don't. That's not the sort of feeling I want from you. And don't you be too sure of yourself or of me. I could have been naughty if I liked. I've seen more of some things than you for all your learning. Girls like me can drag gentlemen down to make love to them easy enough. And they wish each other dead the next minute.
Of course they do. Then what the thunder are we quarreling about?
I want a little kindness. I know I'm a common, ignorant girl, and you a book-learned gentleman, but I'm not dirt underneath your feet. What I did was not for the dresses and for the taxis. I did it because we were pleasant together. And I come again to care for you. Not to want you to make love to me and not forgetting the difference between us, but more friendly-like.
Of course. That's exactly how I feel. And how Pickering feels. Eliza, you're a fool.
That's not what you give me.
It's only a... Stop behaving like a common idiot. If you're going to be a lady, you'll have to give up feeling neglected if the men in your life don't spend half their time sniveling over you and the other half giving you black eyes. If you can't stand the coldness of my form of life and the strain of it, then go back to the gutter. Work till you're more a brute than a human being. And then squabble and cuddle and drink till you fall asleep. It's a fine life, the life of the gutter. It's warm, it's real, it's violent. You can feel it through the thickest skin. You can taste it and you can smell it without any training or any work. It's not like literature and art, classical music, poetry. You find me cold, selfish, unfeeling, don't you? Well then, off with you to the sort of people you like. Go marry some sentimental hog or other with lots of money, a thick pair of lips to kiss you with and a thick pair of boots to kick you with. If you can't appreciate what you've got, then you'd better go find what you can't appreciate.
Oh, you are a cruel tyrant. I can't talk to you. You turn everything against me. I'm always in the wrong. But you know very well that you're nothing but a bully. You know I can't go back to the gutter, as you call it, and that I have no real friends in the world but you and the Colonel. You know I can't go live with a low common man after you two, and it's wicked and cruel of you to insult me by pretending I could. You think I must go back to Wimple Street because I have nowhere else to go but father's, but don't you be too sure that you have me under your feet to be trampled on and tucked down. I'll marry Fred as soon as he's able to support.
You'll marry an ambassador, or you'll marry the Lord Lieutenant of Ireland. I'll not have my masterpiece thrown away on a friend.
I'd like you to say that, but I haven't forgot what you said a minute ago, and I won't be coaxed round as if I was a baby or a puppy. If I can't have kindness, I'll have independence.
Independence. Middle class blasphemy. We're all independent. Every one of us.
I'll let you see whether I'm dependent on you. If you can preach, I can teach.
What are you teaching him?
What you taught me, I'll teach phonetics. I'll offer myself as an assistant to Professor Napian.
What? That imposter? That humbug? That toadying ignoramus? Teach him my methods, my discoveries. You take one step in his direction and I'll wring your neck, do you?
I care, I knew you'd strike me someday! Aha! Now I know how to deal with you. What a fool I was not to think of it before. You can't take away the knowledge you gave me. You said I had a finer ear than you, and I can be civil and kind to people, which is more than you can. Aha! That's done you, Henry Higgins, it has! Now I don't care that for your bullying and your big talk. I'll advertise it in the papers that you're... She'll teach... on and top down when all the time I had only to lift up my finger to be just as good as you. I myself.
You damned impudent wretch, you. It's better than sniveling. Better than fetching slippers and finding spectacles, isn't it? By George, Eliza, I said I'd make a woman of you, and I have. I like you like this.
Yes. You turn around and make up to me now that I'm not afraid of you and can do without you.
Of course I do, you silly fool. 5 minutes ago, you were like a millstone round my neck. Now you're a tower of strength, a consort battleship. Now you and I and Pickering will be 3 old bachelors together instead of 2 old men and a silly girl.
The carriage is waiting, Eliza. Are you ready?
Quite. Is the professor coming?
Certainly not. He can't behave himself in church. He makes remarks out loud all the time on the clergyman's pronunciation.
Then I shall not see you again, Professor Higgins.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, dear.
Goodbye. No, Eliza. Order a ham and Stilton cheese, will you? Oh, and a pair of reindeer gloves, number 8s. And a new tie to match that new suit of mine at Elin Binman's. You can choose the color.
Buy them yourself.
I'm afraid you've spoiled the girl, Henry. It doesn't matter. I'll buy you the glove and tie.
Well, don't bother, Mother. She'll buy them well enough. Goodbye. She'll buy them.
I'll wait till other people are out of the way. Yep. I remember how crowded it is.
Yes, indeed. Amelia, after, like, normally when our shows start going, when we're done after, what would be things that you want me to do?
There's not really much of anything, like, I have to stay until everybody's done changing and stuff, so I'll have to do with a lot. Good night. Nothing too.
We can make sure that the green room monitor is turned off.
Yeah, I will keep that off.
Oh, thank you very much.
Right now it's taking them about half an hour to close the show, so.
All right, but thank you. And, do we know how long our show's been?
It's been 2.5 hours, but it was shorter tonight, it was about 2:20. Yeah, with intermission, so that's good.
So we're dialing it in there a little bit.
Cool. Still a few slow moments that they'll start picking up a little bit better too as we rehearse more, so.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Hello down there.
Yes, I have a question for you. Yes, come on stage.
Let me open that thing. Sure.
Okay, and then I'm gonna have.
There's another chair like this downstairs.
They squeak like hell.
Oh.
Higgins, yeah, they squeak like hell. Yeah. The only reason we're using that one is because Mrs. Higgins is so very delicate and polite the way she sits.
Oh, yeah.
It does not squeak.
But Connor is the only one that sits in that chair. Could he perch quietly?
Maybe?
Yeah, I just thought it would look well and make it that much smaller backstage than it
Potentially.
would be for stage.
Yeah, we might try that tomorrow. It's just, we tried them before and it was,
There's
oh boy.
just nothing you can do about that.
Yeah. Good idea though, thank you. What?
I've encountered squeaky.
Oh my gosh, I know, the first time we tried it.
So bad.
Steven, Sable, wasn't it? It was like,
Yeah, every
it
time.
moves so much that scene too, it was
And
ridiculous.
the other one didn't, and so I was thinking, oh, well, maybe we'll just switch them, but then for the next scene, we would have to switch them back because he sits on this chair,
What is that? Is Conan Pierce the only one that ever sits in that chair?
Yeah, we're gonna try it
So
tomorrow.
he
and see how it
just,
goes.
I mean, he's not thrashing about and fidgety or.
No, as long as it gets, as long as the height is right, and even still,
It's
I
still
feel
not
like
right, but
it's
it's
still not quite. I'm wondering if we just like, just little millimeter amounts
Move
moved
forward.
this front, like just a little bit more this
Well,
direction.
these we want to move, but that one, if it was the smaller chair, we could move it downstage slightly, which would give better visibility when it
It
happens.
would.
Yeah, we can try that tomorrow and see how it
It
goes. Good
still
idea.
looks like an attachment.
I
So
know.
I'm gonna turn it on.
But it's looking really good. Including the set changes.
Yeah.
Very entertaining. Professional. Yeah, I just had to figure out Sharon's waist cap.
That's all we're doing.
Waist band.
Big thank you.
Being so used to suspenders.
We were out there like,
There's a gusset in the back of his pants of very thin starches.
Yeah.
And his suspenders hopped all over. I got so two. Two and back.
All right. I mean, I'm all for some additional comedy, but maybe not a bad time. Yeah, they're doing all of it, and they're not back there, totally. So I'm agreeing on those. They're doing all of those.
They're doing a hell of a job.
Yeah. For us to have a 5-act classic play running at 2 hours and 5 minutes with those big scene changes in there and all those quick changes, that's freaking amazing. Yeah. They should all feel very good.
For sure. Alrighty, well, I'm gonna to home.
Thanks.
And go eat some food.
See ya.
Pass out.
All
if we would have taken this scene out, we would take stuff out and then enter through this door.
I don't like
You want that? Okay, because it's been a lot of confusion, we sometimes forget, and then sometimes half of us do it.
There are a couple of times where there's not a need for it, but for the
Okay.
most part, it'll prevent any running
Yeah,
into
yeah,
each other.
okay.
and pinpointing.
So we'll make sure that we
We're
do
also going to try
that.
something tomorrow. We're going to take away that big pink chair and use the other little black chair and see if Steven can make it not squeak.
Cute.
Because that would be a lot easier for you guys to move
That'd
in
be
and out.
so amazing.
Yeah. So we're going to try it tomorrow and see if it helps.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Good work.
Yay.
Thank you so much. Good night. Sleep well. Get rest. Get rest, Amelia.
Serious.
But pretend to sleep sometimes.
Pretend to sleep
Yeah.
really good. Thank you.
So, question.
Yes.
Are you aware of how amazing of a job you are doing and
Thank
how
you.
big the show
I
is coming along
appreciate that.
and
It's
how
coming along.
wonderful and blessed we all are and how grateful we are to have you leading us through this?
Thank you, Danny. I really appreciate that.
Glad you're aware of it.
It's gonna be a good show. We're gonna be ready for it.
Yeah.
At least this part of it is. But the rest is gonna be ready.
It's gonna be ready.
Every edit gets a little bit better. Maybe not tonight because I was super burned out, but tomorrow will be good.
People are gonna love it. Honestly.
They will. Kind of hard not to with a cast like this.
Yeah.
And we're already running at 2 hours and 5 minutes with all of that crazy shit going on.
And honestly, like, I'm really liking the set.
Yeah, it works.
Especially, I mean, just some of the little details that I wouldn't even notice,
Yeah.
like, necessarily if I was watching the show, but like
Yeah.
on my camera screen, I sometimes notice, like, this vase of flowers.
That was Shannon.
It's just
Shannon brought that in.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's just perfect. Any scene where someone is sitting there, it just, I love it.
This is, yeah.
But it doesn't do it in a way that allows for changes.
Okay.
So then what I need to actually get stereo.
Okay. Well, okay, good. I'm so sorry that it escalated to that and that you had to be the culprit of that animosity. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Right, just to be safe. Right, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, really easily. The silver bars, they slide, so we can just slide it back. We didn't have time to finish hanging curtains today, so this isn't.
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Now, I don't know if this needs, it seemed like it would be nice if that one had a little bit of,
Yeah, we can try
this
tomorrow.
one would be really nice if it was about a foot far back.
The only thing is if we do that, we can't have.
I'll make sure to let
safe
them
house
know.
back there, 'cause then we'll
Like safe and, yeah,
So we
Yeah.
should have very dense.
That side
okay.
really close, we can move it from.
I'm so sorry again. Are you driving home now? Is Alan out? Are you good?
And through, and it's all,
Okay.
it's getting my stuff, and it just got.
Oh, okay.
That's the night to ask.
Yeah, we'll fiddle with it a little bit tomorrow and make sure that.
Okay, yeah, nothing.
If it's a problem of moving the two of them, the thought that I had.
Right, it's not like you were parking there for the entire night.
You want to get to the opening or not.
Yeah.
No.
Because they're on the
Well,
same
we'll
road.
try it and just see how it looks.
My thought, just so that you know, if you needed, really, really want this one first.
Yeah.
That one, if we had a.
Sorry, that was me. All right, well, I'm so sorry, Jay. Have a good rest of your night and stay. Yeah.
Get on stage.
I definitely will. I definitely will.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Good night. Bye-bye. Sorry, what was that? Matthew?
Yeah, we'll deal with it.
Noise, making lots of noise.
We'll fix it.
Ow!
with you? What a fool I was not to think of it before. You can't take away the knowledge you gave me. You said I had a finer ear than you, and I can be civil and kind to people, which is more than you can. Aha! That's done you, Henry Higgins, it has. Now I don't care that for your bullying and your big talk. I'll advertise it in the papers that your Duchess is nothing but a flower girl that you taught, and that she'll teach anybody to be a Duchess. I almost said flower girl tonight. And she'll teach anybody to be a flower girl just the same.
Get the hook. No.
Yeah, right? Is that Blue House Lady again?
Yes. Yeah. Keep talking.
I got right to sell flowers and pick him up the cab. I'm a respectable girl, so help me. I never spoke to him except to ask him to buy a flower off me. Oh, sir, don't let them charge me. You don't know what it means to me. They'll take away my character and drive me on the streets for speaking to gentlemen.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, that was Blue House Lady. Amelia and Danny leaving one night at 9:30 as well. She came up the ramp to yell at them as they were leaving.
And were they parked in front of her house?
Nope. She was coming to yell at us about noise, and they had literally just opened the door to leave, and they're not loud people. So, so yeah, so she is quickly becoming a rebel. Yes.
So here's my thing. She's left notes on the door, but she never like leaves out contact information. She doesn't ever like,
Also, it's
call
public
me to
parking.
talk to me or come over and talk to me
Yeah.
at a time when it's like,
And it's public parking. You can't claim the parking spots.
jail call the police.
Good. Deal with it strictly. Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm sorry she had to deal with that, but.
Yeah. No, everybody's safe.
Okay, but yeah.
Like, really?
Seriously? And like, if it was
It's not like
after,
we're
if it was like
running
10:30 or 11, maybe, but it was
Right?
9:30, and they had
Yeah.
just like walked outside.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, not cool. Oh, goodness.
Did we have a stream tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
We did have a stream. I have not listened to it to see if there was improvement. Okay. Still having assorted. That camera likes to come in and out a whole bunch, so I have to watch for that and then zip to another camera.
I
when
wish
it
we
starts
had
doing
another
that.
connection to cameras. I don't know.
It's
And
not
plus,
the
I don't
camera,
know.
it's the cables. Okay. It's not the camera. Okay. It's the cables.
It's
They're
like I
just-
don't even know
Yeah.
anybody who would give us such a such a good to have these cameras.
Yes.
And I'm just like, I don't know that we have the money to even
No.
try to
At
reach
this-
out
and
to
at this
anybody
point,
else.
it's better to just try and work with what we've got. Too,
Yeah.
Because they're
No.
constantly bringing in
Thinking
new
of the
stuff.
future.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too. I'd love to have consistency. I don't like switching things up every show. It's more work than it's worth. It's ridiculous.
You know, we're making them work. It's working around their kinks and trying to be like, oh crap, I see that one starting to go. Quick change.
That's the ticket, because then you can use the shotguns and leave them down low. On
2 scenes where you have to review,